Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brian from USA.Patriot.Cards back to wrap this trade series up. This is part 3 of trades that I've made in the last 2 years through the Dallas Card Show, which I'm local to, also through mail, and trying to just encourage people to think about trading, to find trade partners on Instagram or here on YouTube. One thing I wanted to mention about making trades is that there's a way to do it through the mail, all right? That is, I think, a little smarter than some ways that people do it. There's also, if you're making a big purchase or you're making a big sale, you might consider getting in the car. You might consider getting on an airplane. If it's a cash deal, I'd probably avoid the airplane. But if it's somewhere you can drive to and it's cash, perfect. But when you're doing big trades through the mail, a lot of people will, let's say they have a $10,000 lot that they're trading. They will try to insure that for $10,000. And it might be 2 or 3 cards, so it's a small package, right? Well, to me, if I'm a mail carrier or a postal worker along the line somewhere and I see a small package that has a $10,000 insurance attached to it, I might be intrigued or a little curious. I'm not sure what shows up, how they could tell how much insurance it is just on the label. But I mean, if they're scanning it, right, and they're already like nefarious individuals, they might have a way to quickly check, right, for packages that might have insurance. So the way I've always done it is I've used FedEx, and they have a flat rate box that you can pretty much get 10 to 15 cards in your bubble mailer, and then you put that in their flat rate box. They have bigger flat rate boxes, obviously, if it's a bigger trade, but and then you overnight it. That's the key. Get it there as quickly as possible. I think putting it in a flat rate box so it looks like every other package, and then getting it there as quickly as possible are the two things that help keep that package as inconspicuous as possible and avoid all the red flags that criminals might look for. So if you have any questions on that, or if you want somebody to kind of help you walk through doing a bigger mail trade, I'd be happy to do that. Best place to find me is on Instagram, USA.Patriot.Cards. Let's move right into this. I've got basically everything I could find on my phone from the past 4 or 5 Dallas card shows laid out. A lot of the cards that I traded or received actually in the trade are gone. I try to find pictures of those just visually to make the video more interesting. But let's start here. All right, so the first trade that I made, this was before the World Series, but I acquired this Triple Threads Triple Auto of Correa, Jordan, and Altuve. It's out of 3. It's really nice. I have a little Astros PC going, so I thought I'd pick this up. It's got a cool piece of the bases, all game used pieces. Anyway, I picked this up for the Aaron Judge Gypsy Queen around the bases that you see right here. And I got the Triple Threads Astros piece in $100. Now, the reason I traded that Judge, it was probably mid-season when I did that, and he'd already hit 30-plus bombs. But I have another one. I have this one as well. So I had 2 of them. And this one's way more appealing to me just because it's got dirt. It's got some creases in the base. It's got dirt on it. So I just figured if I have 2 of these Judges, why not make one? Turn one into something else. And I brought back that Triple Threads, Triple Auto, and $100. All right, so the next trade I did, it was the same show that I acquired the Triple Threads Astros piece. Was I traded for these 2 Bobby Witt Jr. on-card rookie autos, and they are both out of 2022 Definitive rookie auto. Definitive is a high-end baseball product that Topps makes. It has a lot of really nice patches and autos, and everything's on-card game used. It's a very expensive product, but I was happy to get out of 50, a 50 out of 50, and a 25, 9 out of 25 green. Love Bobby Witt. And what I had to pay for this was this 2018 Kaboom rookie of Bo Bichette. This was a rookie that I pulled in a pack that I sent off to grade, and it came back at 10. I loved Bichette. I definitely believe in Bichette as a future all-star and possible, championship winner. I like Toronto. I like Bo, but I just wanted to move into Bobby Witt stuff and to get two pretty cool rookies for this Kaboom of Bo. Again, Kabooms are non-licensed in baseball, but I have a Kaboom that I'm about to show you that I traded into, so I like them still, especially if they're rookies. And looking back, I kind of wish I would have kept this Bo Bichette because I have the perfect partner, rookie Kaboom, for this card, but it is what it is. And I got two Bobby Witt Jr. rookie autos that I'm happy to have. So speaking of the perfect card to partner with that Bichette Kaboom rookie, here it is. It's the Vladdy Jr. Kaboom rookie in a PSA 10. I think Vladdy Jr. is young enough to put up Hall of Fame career numbers. He's still just 23, I think. He's somebody I might be targeting in the off season if I was looking to pick up a good buy, a good baseball buy in the off season. Look for look for some Vladdy stuff. It was all about Ohtani and Judge last year. I think Judge is going to age out sooner than later, and these young guys are going to start to take over the face of the game. For this, I gave a Justin Herbert die-cut white. I think that's a field level select PSA 10, and a Ja Morant Purple Wave Prism rookie PSA 10. I loved that Ja Morant. That color match of that purple, when you held that purple Ja Morant card in the light, it reflected all of the colors that are on that card. The light blue of his uniform, the pink of his right shoe, and the yellow of his left shoe. I mean, it was probably the most encompassing color match that I've ever seen. Here's a close-up of both of those cards. I didn't mind getting off the Herbert because it's a die cut, and die cuts have ceilings more so than your standard rookie. And then the Purple Wave Ja, sometimes you have to give a cool card to get a cool card. That's what it ended up being for me, was the Purple Wave Ja. But I also received, how much did I get back? $250. Yeah, so I got the Vladdy Kaboom at $250, which I was happy with. Now I just need to go back and get that Bo, have them all paired up together. But yeah, look for some Vladdy stuff in the off season if you are so inclined. Okay, so the next trade I want to talk about is one that I just sold the card that I traded for, which was a 2017 Prism Blue Ice Jason Tatum rookie BGS 9.5. I sold it for 3.2, and I sold it on My Slabs, which helped, which is about $200 higher than the last comp. I didn't really want to part with that card, but I need to pay for some grading, and I also need to recoup some money I spent on this. So it just makes sense. I really, speaking of this card, how about a Darius Garland Choice color match? Red. This one's out of 88, 19 out of 88. I think that Cleveland is going to be a force in the East all the way up to the end and get a relatively high seed in the playoffs. I don't know if they can beat Milwaukee, but between him and Mitchell, I think they can do some damage. This kid's really good. So I was happy to get this. This is also a card that's not going to be popping up for sale a lot. I think it's a pop 11. So I feel kind of safe with where I got this. But yeah, here's the Tatum. It's just gorgeous, beautiful. Loved it. Really started following the Celtics after I picked this card up. Really started paying attention to what kind of player Tatum is. and really was impressed with him and Jaylen Brown. But in the end, I just don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's the guy that's going to win any championships, or I don't think he's the guy that is going to separate himself from the rest of the league. It's almost like the Mahomes Josh Allen thing. I think Luka is Mahomes, and I think Tatum's Josh Allen. I'm sure I'll get lots of disagreement with that, and that's fine. And this was a great card, and I had to give a lot for it. Here is what I gave for it. So it was a Bowman's Best Vladdy, which was raw. I traded with a guy named Zach Gutterman, and I know he wouldn't mind me mentioning him just because he's a friend of mine. He comes to all the Dallas shows, and this is when he went through my case. He was just, there were a lot. Let me put it this way: there were a lot of guys after that Tatum Blue Ice, and he was trying to trade down on it. I think it was around 5 when we did the deal, but he wanted stuff like this, what I have not graded. Oddball on-card autos. When I say oddball, like the Breeze NT Captain Patch, the Kelsey swoosh. I mean, those aren't your average, PSA 10 prisms that are in every case. These are different. That's the kind of stuff he likes to deal in. The Marshawn Lynch Shield, the Deshaun Watson Panini 1 rookie, or that's the second year. The Kobe on-card auto was tough to give up. A couple Iversons. That Curry Prism is a bronze fast break out of 20. That's a championship ticket Barkley auto out of 25. I actually pulled that. That was pretty fun. And the Kawhi on-card Revolution auto, which he's in a Raptors uniform, and if you can get a Kawhi card in a Raptors uniform, he played there 1 year, he won a championship. I think there's going to be some, just some intrigue in those cards, especially if they're on card autos. And I'm not sure. I'm sure he signed in Flawless. I'm sure he signed in NT. But he also signed in Revolution that year. So some pretty cool stuff that I gave. I pulled the Kobe auto out of a box of Select. And I remember I bought that box for like $125 off Blowout. They pulled it for me. Let's see. I was into all this stuff dirt cheap. I picked up all this stuff pre-boom and moved it for a card that I really enjoyed. Now, if I were to sell all this stuff right here now today raw like this, could I get more than 3.2? Let me see. Probably right around there, I would assume. It would take me a minute to do that, but I probably could get close. So I don't think I necessarily won the trade or lost the trade. If I would have sold in the playoffs, I would have definitely won the trade, but it was fun to have that Blue Ice. Now I got to go find a Luka Blue Ice because that's kind of my grail. I have a friend that has one, but he doesn't want to deal it, so it is what it is. But it was a fun trade. It was a fun card to own, and it led me into this next trade that I did with him, with Zach, that same show. And this was for the blue Tatum Prism that you see here. And so for that blue Tatum Prism, now I sold that blue too. I sold that blue for, I think it was on eBay, but it was $27.50, I think. So I netted about 24, maybe $23.50. And I sold that about 2 months ago, but no, 6 weeks ago. But here's what I gave. I gave a Pudge Rodriguez Gold Dynasty, an on-card Nolan Ryan auto, a Trey rookie ticket out of Optic Contenders, a Tracy McGrady Revolution on-card, a Spotlight Signature Jokic out of Noir, and an RPA Klay Thompson out of Select. I got all this stuff dirt cheap too. I remember buying that Select Klay Thompson at the TriStar show in Houston for like $125, and my son really wanted it. That's why I got it. But the Tatum was around 4 when I traded into it. So it was also a fun card to own. I used to have a pretty nice Tatum collection, and now this is all I've got left. Of course, this goes with one of the cards I'm going to show you at the end of this video. It's a nice little pair, so I'll probably hold on to this just so I'm not completely out of Tatum stuff. But I would definitely move this if the right deal came along. So, yeah, a couple big trades with Zach Gutterman. Shout out to Zach, he's a good guy. Next, I'll talk about this trade for this Bowman Chrome first Bowman Auto Bobby Witt Jr. It's a green shimmer. It's out of 99. Interesting about this card is it's a Gem Mint 10 with an auto authentic grade, which the auto is completely clean. So I don't know who graded this like that, or if it was a mistake or what, but I have to address this at some point. I mean, I PC Bobby Witt, so I'm not terribly worried about it, but that's just weird. So for this card, I traded the White Sparkle Trae Young Optic. Now that's a PSA 9, and I added some cash there to close the gap, but all Trae Young stuff is down, so was happy with the comp I got on that card, and was happy to get into something that I PC, because I definitely don't PC Trae Young, although he's not a bad player, and I do like the White Sparkle Optics. I would have had 3 if I'd have kept that, but I don't. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about that trade. It was fairly quick and straightforward. So I guess we'll stay in the Bobby Witt Jr. lane here. I'll just talk about this trade here quickly. I was able to get this trade done for a Deshaun Watson silver, a Joe Burrow green, and a Blue Wave Justin Herbert 9. And I think I added 200 or so, 250 maybe, to get into this Bobby Witt Jr. Speckle Refractor. This one is out of 299. Bobby Witt stuff has come down a lot. I actually got into it, then sold it or traded it at the peak, and then waited for it to drop, got back into it, but it dropped some more after I got back into Bobby Witt. But I don't care. I mean, Bobby Witt is a PC for me, and he's gonna be so good. I think if it wasn't for Julio Rodriguez this year, I mean, the dude hit 20 bombs and stole 30 bases. And if he wasn't playing in Kansas City, I think he would have hit 25. So he's got a ton of talent. It's just going to take him a minute to adjust to big league pitching. But I was happy to do that trade. Anytime I can add a Bowman first Bobby Witt PSA 10 auto, if you have any and you want to get rid of them and you like something I have, hit me up on Instagram. All right, so the next trade to get into here is for this 2020 Panini Prism CeeDee Lamb White Sparkle PSA 10 low pop on this. Super low pop. It's a rookie. It's a White Sparkle, and the White Sparkles just look so good with the Dallas Cowboy colors. I consider that a color match. I love Prism White Sparkle. It's right up there with Prism Blue Ice. Man, Prism by far is my favorite set. No question. Easy. No, I mean, it's not even, I don't even have to think about it. I like a lot of different cards, but Prism, first Bowman Chrome, call it a day for me. For this, I gave a Trae Young Prism Auto Rookie out of 9. It was the base version. I also gave a Color Blast DeAndre Hopkins. Got this deal done in the hallway of the Dallas Card Show right before trade night started a couple shows ago. I believe I had to add maybe $200 or $300 in cash just to close the gap on this. But those trays have fallen off a cliff, and this was back when DeAndre Hopkins was still on suspension. I don't know how many people out there want raw color blast of DeAndre Hopkins, but it can't be too many. And I get asked about this card every time I pull it out, or every time someone sees it. And the Cowboys are for real this year, so this has nowhere to go but up. I really think that I won this trade, and I would do it again today if I had to. All right, we're getting down to the last handful of cards here. Next will be this Mosaic Blue, the 2018 Panini Prism Mosaic. It was the first time a Mosaic product was released, and this is the blue. This is Luka Color Match Rookie, and I just think it's a super under the radar card. I mean, anytime you get a blue rookie, and this is a Prism offshoot. I mean, I consider this a Prism Mosaic Color Match Luka rookie. I mean, that's what it is. So, what I gave for this was a green Tatum. I actually was working off two really good comps for the green Tatum. One was 26, one was 27. And then I had to close the gap with like $200. And then there was like a week later a comp for the green Tatum at like 2K flat. So I really made out well on this. I got this at the last Dallas card show, and I was going into that card show wanting specifically to find this. You see 1 to 3 of these every Dallas card show in a 10. But to only have to give up a green Tatum, that green Tatum Prism is gorgeous. I mean, here it is. I mean, but I had 3 at one point. Now I have none. But I made strategic moves with all 3 of those and got into, well, I think either Lucas or Mahomes with all of those. So they served a purpose. I'll probably pick one of those up later, maybe if it comes down. It's just a great, great card. But yeah, super, super happy to add this to the Luka PC. All right, so next we're going to talk about these 3 Mahomes, which I picked up. Like I said earlier, I've been trying to get back into Mahomes as much as possible during this dip that he's had. So I was able to do that to some extent. The first one I got was this, and I did a trade at the Dallas Card Show. Pretty easy trade to do. It was just a Ruby Wave Josh Allen, and then cash to close the gap on the difference in the last comps. This was going for about 6 back then, but it's held steady. I think the last sale on this was about 45. So, he's one of the fish that's swimming upstream for sure. This one I got right as the NFL season was starting this year. I said before I had 3 green Tatum Prism PSA 10 rookies, and one of them went in this deal. I think I gave the Tatum in 2 to get here. And this one also is moving up as the market continues to come down. And then this orange one, I gave my last blue Herbert, light blue Prism PSA 10 Herbert. And I gave a Ja Morant silver, and then I think 2.25 on this, because this was one of the big cards that wasn't able to keep that high value it had set. When Mahomes, he lost twice. One of those was to Indy, and when he lost at Indy, his stuff started to really move down, and I was able to get this at a comp that reflected that downward movement. But now that he's back playing MVP football, this has moved on up, and I've got to be almost 1,500 plus on this trade at this point. But NFL quarterback markets, especially people like Mahomes and Allen and Herbert and Burrow, they have so much baked into their prices that if they have a bad start, or if they have 2 losses in a row or something like that, it's not long before their market, because a bunch of people start selling. They don't want to have, thousands of dollars tied up in a card when a guy is losing. However, what people don't understand a lot of times is the NFL season, there's been one perfect NFL season, and it hasn't been accomplished since the Dolphins did it in the 70s. You're going to have, ebbs and flows, even the best players. Allen, all of last season was pretty much on the downward move. And that's when I traded all my Mahomes into him. because I still believed in him. And then toward the end of the season and into the playoffs, he started gaining momentum and his prices started ticking up. And even though he lost to Kansas City, the way he played in the postseason gave him so much momentum that, like I said, he was probably the hottest quarterback in the hobby coming into this season. Now, he had a couple games. He lost at New York. He lost, where was the Bills' other loss? I don't remember. But, there's people, he got hurt. How much is that going to affect Herbert? I was seeing all kinds of Herberts coming to the market. Everybody on Facebook was trying to move a Herbert before the prices dipped. And if you're a buyer or a trader into a card like that, watch, look, see, are there auctions ending? Don't jump too early. Wait for that next comp if you think it's going to be a lower comp. Because a lot of times when you see a player start getting flooded, right, to the market, Burrow was a prime example of this with the slow start that the Bengals got off to. When you see those cards showing up, a Contenders auto is a good one. When you start seeing Burrow, Herbert Contender autos, even Allen the past couple weeks showing up, it's a good sign that people are anticipating a drop in those prices. So wait. I'm not saying don't get into those cards, because a lot of times you can make really good moves when those cards are coming down. But just wait for them to hit a nice. You can't sit and wait till it gets hits the ultimate floor, because the next week he might come out, whoever it is, and throw 4 touchdowns, and then boom, everything's back up. So you have to have a little bit of courage, let's just say, to jump into these bigger cards, but you have to also utilize the market and know when the right time is. So we have two more big cards that I'm going to talk about, and then my trade series is going to be done. I really appreciate you guys sticking through this and watching it, and we'll get on to those big ones right now. This brings us to this Luka White Sparkle. Now, I won't spend a ton of time talking about this because I did a really in-depth review of this trade a couple videos ago. If you want to see that, it's in the last Dallas show recap that I did. But this was picked up on a Sunday on my way out of the show. It was the last trade I did. I found a guy that had this, and he had the comp at the last PSA 9 comp, which there's nothing higher than a 9. There's some PSA 9s, there's some BGS 9s, there's this SGC 9. There's no 9.5s, there's no 10s in this White Sparkle from 2018, Donruss Optic, Luka's rookie. And so I understood that even though traditionally SGC might do a little less than a PSA or even a BGS for that matter, when it comes to modern cards, there was going to be no way I could argue that in this card, just because it's so short printed. I had to basically honor the last PSA 9 price, but it was a couple. I think it was months ago. And Luka's stuff, at least initially this season, started really moving up. And so when I traded into this, I was happy to do it at a comp that was, I think, early summer. Now, the whole market has moved down since then, but like I said, Luka's stuff was up. Now, the Mavericks can't win a game, so I don't know how long that's going to remain the case, but irregardless, or regardless, because irregardless is not a word, I knew that I wanted to add this to my PC. Not going to be a lot of opportunities to do that, especially at a full trade, so I jumped. He wanted Mahomes stuff. He's a Kansas City guy. He actually turned down $5,500 cash on this from a different person at the Dallas Card Show, because he said he was really wanting to trade into a big Mahomes, and I just so happen to have this National Treasures Futures out of 25 PSA 9 that I was willing to move. Not many Mahomes I'm willing to move, but for whatever reason, these NT futures just don't do super good. I think the comp on this was 7. So I mean, they do well, but they just don't do as well as some of the other more traditional rookies. You know, it's definitely an insert rookie. It's a National Treasures and it's on cards. It's got a lot of good things going for it, but it wasn't a card that I had trouble moving. You know, when you do big trades, it's sometimes it's going to hurt, right? And you got to be okay with that. You got to know what you're getting back. And even if you look at a card and it's down and you're trading it while it's down, most likely the card you're bringing back is also down. So it sort of all kind of washes out. But this is a gorgeous card. It looked great in the PSA 9 or in the PSA label with the red and the white. He was ecstatic to get it. Like I said, go back and watch that if you're interested. But he actually added $1,200 cash to it too. So that was nice to get that. And I came home. I debated for a minute whether I should cross this over. And then I thought, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep it. And I put it in this Card Case Pro bag here. And it looks great. I love these SGC slabs when they're in these cardcasepro.com little faux leather bags. So yeah, this will be in the PC. It goes next to the Tatum that I have. Although I would move the Tatum. I'm not going to move this. So this will be one I keep. And so on to the monster trade of all trades. So here it is, the last card in my my card trading series that hopefully inspires you to consider trading into some bigger cards or even trading down into some more liquid cards to help keep growing your collection and to do it without having to spend a ton of money, which I think if you can accomplish that in this market, it can be very rewarding. I'm not going to do the full assessment on this one either because I did that already. I think I have an entire video devoted just to this trade if you want to get more in depth on how I acquired this. I bring in some videos of this being pulled on Firehand Cards and how I tracked the guy down and how he put it on eBay initially and how he put it up for auction twice with the reserve price and they didn't get met and how I contacted him and I spent about a week negotiating this deal and ultimately I sent him about 40K in cards. Here's what I sent him right here. So you can see the 101 NT Mahomes with Trubisky there, which I was into these cards dirt cheap. I paid $400 for that card back when it was pulled back in 2018. The Select Curry Gold patch game used, pulled that out of a $250 Select box. The Flawless Curry, now that one hurt. That one was one that I picked up. I think I paid around $1,300 for that back when you could still get into his stuff relatively cheaply. It was game used, a cool piece of the Warriors throwback jerseys. I'm not sure what the official title of those white jerseys is, but and then I also gave a Luka silver and a Trey silver, both raw copies. They were both flawless. I'm assuming they both got 10s. That was back when the Luka 10 was doing 6 and the Trey was doing around 2, I believe. I think he graded them and did get a 10 in both of those. But and then the Clint Frazier. He was a Clint Frazier fan. He lives up in New Jersey, so he's a Yankee guy when Clint was with the Yankees. It was right in the middle of COVID, like right in the middle when people were afraid to go buy groceries, right? So I was a little nervous about getting on an airplane and going up to New Jersey, and he couldn't come down to Texas, so we just took a leap of faith together and put all our cards in the mail. I mean, I really trusted him, right? And he really trusted me, too. Like I said earlier in this video, we just overnighted him. And that gave me full confidence in the ability to do big trades in the mail. But you got to be smart about it. I've already talked about it, so I don't need to revisit that here. But there are ways to remain under the radar. I think that's the most important thing. Anyway, this card is Some people will love it, some people will hate it. I've already been offered 100K for it, and I turned it down. It was not a formal like offer. It was more of a would you take 100K for it type deal at a card show. Sealed, 101, 38 gems. Got the blue sapphires here up in the stars part of the flag. You got the red rubies on each red stripe, and then the diamonds on the white. I think he's going to save our country. I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest Americans to ever live. So, I mean, if that's where we, ultimately have to like agree to disagree, then I'm fine, because I don't try to bring in politics as passionately as I maybe would like to into my collecting space. I try to keep those pretty separate. I think aside from being USA Patriot cards, and no, I was never in the military. I grew up in the military. Both my parents were in the Air Force, and I grew up on Air Force bases. But I never went into the service myself. But I have a monstrous amount of respect for people that serve this country and the people that continue to do that, law enforcement, all that. I think we really, really are starting to realize how precious our Constitution is and how much we have to do to protect that. Because there are people that want to strip it away from us. And I think he is on the forefront of waking us up and showing us that we need to fight back. And he's leading that charge. And so that is why I gave so much for this. Call me crazy or you can call me a genius. I think it's either... It's either one, because to be in the middle of the road on this is almost impossible these days. But yeah, it's my best card, my favorite card, and President Donald J. Trump, Commander-in-Chief. I love everything about this card. So that'll do it. That'll wrap up my trade series. I really appreciate you guys sticking through these videos. They're longer, but like I said, that's kind of my style. I like the longer format, sort of in a podcast style. But I'll continue to do these as long as you guys continue to watch. And I need to make a new trade so I can talk about it. So if you see anything you like or you want to explore a trade and walk down the trade path with me, just hit me up on Instagram. And I wish you nothing but success in your collection curating, and I wish you nothing but positivity and good luck in this hobby, because we all need a little bit of that.